Good evening, and thank you for joining me for this online version of the Radiant Gentle Flow class that I often teach here at Dragon Spirit Arts Studio. I just want to let you know that if you need modification, make sure you have 2 blocks, a strap, a blanket. Those props are always going to be good to support us. So let's all go have a seat. Let's get ourselves comfortable. Taking a cross-legged position. And let's bring our hands over the thighs or knee area, and we'll just close the eyes and start to tune into our breathing. Allowing the inhalation and exhalation to have steady, slow, substantial, connected rhythms. As your shoulders relax away from the ears, the eyes closed, relaxing the muscles of the eyes, relaxing the mouth and the jaw. Begin to connect that breath deep into the body. Focusing on grounding your energy. Making your transition from wherever it is that you're coming from in this week, in this life, and allowing yourself this time and space to let go of anything that would otherwise distract your mind, body connection. Consciously take a moment to let go of anything that does not serve you here. Relaxing any areas of tension from the eye muscles and the sockets to the jaw and the mouth to the shoulders. And yet we are connected to our seats, sitting upright, sitting tall, grounded to the earth, and yet uplifted, inspired by the stars above. We're just going to focus on the steady breath, where we work with this idea of creating even intervals of breath. And if naturally you find yourself moving into a more oceanic style breath, and the exhale naturally for you becomes longer, that's good, that's fine. Just remembering your first tool of the practice is the breath. When you're ready, let's place one hand, preferably your right hand, at the heart center, heart chakra. Left hand at the lower abdomen below the belly button. And here we create intelligence, connecting ourselves, aligning ourselves from the root at the base of the spine, grounding us down to the earth. From the crown point, from the head being lifted as if we're suspended from a golden thread of light that is reaching up and out into the sky above. Feeling the breath in your body, supporting you, connecting you, aligning you with your best self. And taking a moment, connected mind, heart, and body, as is the symbolism of the Hasta Mudra on these chakra points or energy centers. Setting the seed of intention for your practice, that bija, that seed of intention we're going to work with this evening is letting go of attachments. If there's anything that you need to let go of, imagine the earth below you supporting you in this. The sky above you aligning you with this. And the breath within you enlivening you for this. So that you're ready in the present moment. Letting go of the past, letting go of uncertainty, and working with this present moment of you in connection with the breath. Let's slowly take a deep breath in, removing the hands from the body, reaching up. Bringing the hands down to center. Clearing the head, the heart, the body. And let's reach the hands out, whether you're able to only go this far or there's more space to travel. Maybe even place a block under the forehead, like so. Whatever level you need so that your sit bones are making connection. And if you're already ready to move into a child's pose, maybe that's where you go next. And everyone else will get there when they're ready to get there. Using a blanket as needed, using a block as needed, taking wide knee child's pose, or whatever version of child's pose your body needs, and just letting yourself be there as your forehead at the third eye chakra, the brow chakra, that which is connected to our insight, to our interconnectedness to each other. Be supported and grounded. Letting your forearms rest. And as you're breathing deep into the back of the lungs, up through the back line, really, really supporting the kidneys with that breath, right? The kidneys live in this area right at the back line on either side of the spine. And when our kidneys are stressed and we're not breathing deep into the lower part of the lungs, it's much easier to get stressed out and to feel a greater amount of anxiety. So we want to massage all these internal organs with our breath. And maybe you'll start to find a little movement side to side, rolling across the forehead, if the neck is okay with that. Rolling across the shin bones, as long as the knees are okay with that. Using the tops of the feet to connect if you're able to make that contact there. Finding the movement side to gently help ground you as you enter your practice. When you're ready, slowly bring the hands under the shoulders, aligning yourself into tabletop, spreading out the fingers, making any adjustments you may need to make for any wrist or hand issues that you may have. Maybe turning the palms out slightly. If there's a lot of stress in the wrist, you can always bring the wrist forward of the shoulder line. But soften the shoulders away from the ears. Begin to press toward the shins, the tops of the feet. Spreading out the toes, using the whole top of the foot that's available to you, and finding that navel to spine. Tailbone lengthening toward the heels. Finding the connection there at the shin points if that's available to you. Adjusting as needed if you're using a blanket so you get all the padding you need out of that blanket. And as you're lengthening and breathing here, you're drawing the shoulder blades down the back as you drop into these alignments at the base of the thumb, the index, the pinky, the outer edge of the palm, particularly for this external rotation at the top of the arms. Breathe here. Begin to lengthen on the inhale. On the exhale, we're going to bring the hips to the right side, pressing into the shins as we look toward our left heel. Inhale, back to center. The hips move to the opposite direction, looking over your right shoulder toward the right heel. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale for a twist. And I'll turn the other way so you can see me on this view. Pressing into that right shin when I look right, so my hips, my knee, my ankle are aligned, or at least supported in asymmetry. One more round here. And then back to center. From tabletop, we'll move into cat-cow. If anyone has wrist issues that require adjustment here, you can use fists. And we'll begin to move into cat-cow. Sway the back on the cow, press into the shins, the top of the feet, breathing. Exhale, round, chin to chest, navel toward the spine. If you look down and you see your knees are really wide and you need to adjust, or you find that you need to really make sure the whole shin, knee, and ankle are on the blanket, go ahead and do that. Sway back. Even in a back bend, we're not just disengaging our back. We're keeping that tailbone lengthened, pressing through the palms, pressing through the shins. Exhale, round and release. You'll keep going while I take a layer off. Inhale, expand and open the chest. Open up as you dip the belly toward the earth. Keep those sit bones lifted. Exhale, rounding chin to chest, navel to spine, tailbone toward the earth. Inhale, dipping the pelvis back, sway the back, open the heart line. Exhale, round to release. Lengthen as you inhale. Contract and release on the exhale. Then we're going to slowly sit back in whatever version of child's pose you are inclined to. This time I'm going to show the variation that's pretty classical, where the hands come back. Again, it's priority to get your sit bones to drop to your heels before you lower your head. It's not a priority to get your head down before your quad stretch. And then the hands can come back, only usually with the knees touching. And you're going to let yourself be supported here in the breath. Right, adapt by using a block if you need to. Energize those kidneys with the breath. When you're ready, let's go ahead and bring the hands out. And we're going to bring the knees wide. And we're going to go ahead and step back the left leg, stretching out the heel. Lift your gaze. Soften the shoulder blades down the back. Lengthen the spine. Adjust to make sure that you are supported and able to keep a pelvic tilt even though the leg is extended. Breathing is steady and slow. We're going to move to the other side. Now we're going to stretch out through your right heel. Tiger's leg stretch variation, where we're getting into that calf. Tailbone tucking, lengthening as much as you like to go forward, but keeping that press away through that shin. Breathing here, elongating into the shape. Create some length there as you lengthen through crown all the way down to the heel. Draw the eye of the elbow forward, shoulder blades down the back. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and lengthen left side, reach it over the right, press into that right shin as you look around toward the heel behind you. Back to center, lower the knee, inhale. Exhale, bring that right foot behind the left, press into the left shin. Gaze looking over toward your heel behind you on the left side. Back to center. Let's maybe even lift the leg up. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale up and down. Exhale. Inhale up, out and over. Exhale, look toward the heel. Inhale up and return. Again. Inhale up and over. Turn. Keep the press into the right shin. Inhale up and back with the left leg. Now, right side again. Up and back. Over. Exhale as you twist. Inhale up and exhale back to center. Now we're going to come down to the mat again, probably wide knee child's pose, and walk the fingertips out like little spiders. Find some width, find some length, soften the shoulder blades down the back. Maybe a little rolling, waving side to side. Realign your posture, take a breath. From here, we're going to go ahead and curl our toes under, and we're going to do some heel presses again in downward dog. Lengthening through your left side and lengthening through your right side. Inhale. Exhale, lengthen through the left heel as you bend the right knee. Inhale, lift the heels, rise up through the sit bones to the sky. Exhale, press down into that right heel. Press the floor away. So your priority here in down dog, heel press, even in downward dog, is always that stretch through your back. Not so much a focus on getting the heel to the floor in the sense of holding and then compromising in this shape. You want that drop of the knee now, really press the floor away and lengthen, spread out the fingers, evenly distribute the weight as you roll the eye of the elbow upward. Breathing, connecting, elongating. And when you're ready, let's walk the feet to the front of the mat. And we're going to hang in a forward fold, a passive forward fold Uttanasana. So just let your upper body hang for a moment, disengaging any holding in the neck or the head, and letting your head begin to articulate up, down. Let the breath connect you on the inhale and the exhale. Come back to neutral and inhale, lengthen, exhale, letting the head drop to the side, ear to shoulder. Inhale, center, ear to shoulder on the other side. Do that again. Getting a nice stretch to the neck. And let's do a gentle yes, no, right? We already did the yes, so let's do the no, right? Where you totally turn your head side to side, gently exploring the amount of space you have there. When you're ready, come back to center, and we're going to take our time coming up. Bending the knees is always a good way to save the spine. Here we're coming to mountain pose. Forgive me while I adjust my clothes. All right, so mountain pose. Take a moment in mountain pose. Establish the breath, connecting the points of contact. From the perimeter points at each corner of the foot to the spreading out of the toes. Let's pick the toes up. Connecting from the big toe knuckle out to the pinky, and then to the inner and outer edges as you gently begin to press away from the midline. Finding your pelvis tilting, the navel naturally shifts the whole pelvic girdle so your tailbone can lengthen toward the heels or the earth. Stand tall here and meditate on the breath as you reach your fingertips out far enough that there's space between the body and under the arms. The arms like the slopes of the mountain, the head like the peak of the mountain. Similarly, your head is aligned, that you are lifted through that occipital point, the nose in alignment with it, in parallel relation to the floor. Breathe here. Connecting to the earth below your feet. And that upward lift into the sky above. When you're ready, we're going to get our props set up for flow. So grab 2 blocks and maybe a strap and a blanket nearby. I would suggest having your blanket in the middle of the mat like I do, unless you have some other arrangement that works better for you. So you're going to take your blocks and you're going to set them up right at the front of the mat. Now I may move from one side to the other just so you can see the positioning. Feel free at any time, of course, to take a moment for drinks, tea or water. And when you're ready, you're going to come to the front of your mat. We're going to do some gentle moon salutations with some back bends. So let's bring our feet at least hip-width distance apart. Here, begin to open up the palms. So I refer to this as lotus mudra, and the idea of gratitude. All right, so we're going to take a moment here with the thumb and pinky connecting, all the other fingers flaring out, and taking a moment to connect at the heart. Breathe into gratitude. Breathe out. Taking a moment to acknowledge the things, the people that you have gratitude for. Taking a moment then to send that gratitude out to anyone, whether it's a community, an idea, something that you want to support and hold space for with this gratitude for a moment. And reconnecting with gratitude for this time that you have carved out for your practice and this privilege of being able to do this. When you are ready, we'll begin. Inhale, reaching down and out, rising up to the sky. On the exhale, like a waterfall, releasing through the knees, keep the press away, lengthening out through the head and the neck. Inhale, we're going to rise up. You have choices here. Fingertips can come to the shins or the blocks, whatever's going to get you in the alignment. Exhale, releasing out and over, bend the knees as much as you need to. Repeating on this first round and holding. Inhale, back up. Exhale, releasing out and over. Inhale, rising back up. Exhale, out and over. Inhale, rising up. On the next exhale, we're going to bend the knees. If you need to use blocks, bring them back into alignment with your ankles. And you're going to take your right leg back nice and long. Extend the left leg to where it's best supported, and that back knee will lower to the mat. Drawing the blocks back, lift and lengthen through the crown, rooting into the point of contact. And if you have the capacity to come up into balance here, find your way in, pausing. Remember, you can always use the thigh to also help you with the alignment. Head, neck, and spine long. In our Anjane Asana, or Ardha Anjane Asana, kneeling or half crescent lunge. We're going to begin to find some movement, like we're reaching and holding an orb. We're inhaling, opening, exhaling, coming down, reaching forward. Try to get that left knee over the ankle. You can keep low in your stance, or you can shift up and out like I'm doing now. And then sinking in, keeping connected to the contact point in the front of the feet, in the back foot. One more. This one is just a back bend. And plant your hands down and find your way to the front of the mat. Lengthen using the blocks or the shins. Exhale, release into a forward fold. Maybe holding the ankles. 2 more of these at whatever variation is most appropriate. If you want to play with the arm movements, you can reach out. And then lengthen out this way, draping the ribs toward the thighs. We're going to go to the other side, so bend the knees. And blocks back. We're going to take our left leg back. So looking back maybe where you're going, making sure that the back, big toe, baby toe is evenly distributed at the base. Lengthen. Where your hands are going to be is either on the floor, fingertips of the floor, or the blocks. Find the appropriate alignment, bringing your blocks back so you're supported, using any positioning that works, and then rising up. Pause here to find the alignment. And we're going to keep our head, neck, and spine straight at first, right? Really making sure our priority is the length of the spine, that tilt of the pelvis, the navel to spine, and breathe here. When you're ready, find the movement. Inhale and exhale. Rising up and out. Up and out. Keep in mind, you can always shorten your stance here. You don't have to be in a super deep lunge, right? It could be plenty to just be somewhere like here. Just try not to have your knee going too far forward of your ankle. That's usually an indication that you need a longer stance. Last one is the back bend. Inhale. And we're going to bring our hands down. And we're going to step our way back. If you use the blocks or not, it's up to you. We're going to move through half plank, also known as the caterpillar. So navel to spine. On the next exhale, elbows to the ribs, knees, chest, and chin touch. And scoot the legs back. Come onto the forearms, baby cobra. Inhale. Exhale. Let's come down. We're going to do this 3 times. Come onto the forearms. Inhale. Exhale, come down. If it feels like you want to come up a little bit higher, maybe you'll explore space here or here, really pressing the tops of your feet into the floor or the mat. And back down. Curl your toes under. Find your way, navel to spine, into downward dog, and breathe. Release your head and neck, articulating. And realigning your posture. Maybe even playing with some movement, side to side. Right, you can bend the knees and create figure 8 shapes with the hips. Right, you could just move the hips back and forth. You can play with this lift off and dropping of the heels down to one side, over to the other. And when you're ready, we're going to find our way to the front of the mat. We're going to bring our big toes to touch. We're going to bring our right leg up And then we're going to sweep it to the front. Use blocks if you need them, right? Or just your fingertips. Lift and then bring the foot in, foot parallel to the other. Inhale, coming up, whatever variation, blocks or shins. And releasing down and out and over. 3 of these. Inhale. Exhale. 1 again. And let's bring our hands out to the side and reaching up, sit into your seat and then rise up to the sky and back to the heart. Holding that gratitude once again. Connecting that even breath, that ocean breath, whichever is most supportive to you. The second round, we're going to do the movements without as much repetition, pose to pose, and the lunging step that we return with will start on the left leg. So when you're ready, inhale. And release, waterfall fold. Inhale just once, halfway up, blocks or shins. Exhale out and over, reaching or holding the ankles. Bend the knees. Plant your palms or use the blocks and right leg back. I'll show this variation without the blocks. Sweeping up, back bend, and 1 whole round. Rising up, back bend. And this time, plant your hands. Stepping to the front. Inhale, rising up halfway. Exhale, release to the fold. Other side. Take the left leg back. Find the appropriate length and lower the back knee, pelvis in the tilts. Coming up. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale, plant. Go ahead and step the right leg back. Find full or half plank. Half plank is definitely more gentle. And knees, chest, and chin. Exhale. Inhale, open it up. Exhale. Navel to spine. Bring it up and back to dog. Breathe. If you're so inclined to move. When you're ready to close this side or this round, you're going to bring the toes to touch. Left leg reaches up for 3-legged dog or tiger's leg stretch. And then you're going to use that leg hip width distance apart with the feet. Rise up. Maybe you're using blocks or not. Lengthen, variation to hold the ankles. When you're ready, coming up, from the seat and back to the heart. So at this point, you might want to pause the video and do 2 more rounds at your own pace. And then we'll move forward. So I'll give you a moment to consider that. And let's say now you have done those 2 more rounds. So you've done a total of 3 or 4 rounds maybe. So let's come back to where we would be. We'll be at the front of the mat. We'll be in mountain pose. We're going to move through some radiant warrior actions. So realigning your posture, reconnecting your breath. And we're going to inhale, bring the hands to heart. Exhale, realign, center, and opening out and up. Bend and release. This time we're just going to step our left leg back nice and long. Use your lunge to gauge the appropriate length for you. Use blocks to adapt and make it accessible for you. Lower the back foot. You can either be perpendicular at a 90-degree angle to the front foot, or your left toes can move toward the front left corner of the mat. We're starting on the right lead with our warrior this time. Come up and find warrior 2. Again, you can determine how deep this is. Softening the shoulders, we're going to reach through the fingertips, lengthening our spine, sitting into our seat, gaze to the front fingertips, and breathe. Lower your center of gravity, find that seat, pelvis tilted, maybe even placing your hands here at the lower sacral and navel center to guide that tilt. Maybe even bringing the hand to heart to remind yourself of that lift and opening of the heart line. If you can bring this other hand to the back and remind the shoulder blades to soften. And then to the top of the crown to lift through your crown. Self-adjustment. Reaching into the horizon. And we're going to straighten the front leg, coming up and back for Radiant Warrior. Checking in with your Radiant Warrior. That you're not just dropping into the back leg, you're keeping that pelvis moving toward the front heel. The back hand could be down the back leg. It could grab this mudra, Yanu Mudra here, and wrap it around, or just wrap the arm around. When you're ready, let's slowly lower out and over to the side body bend. But before we lift that arm up to sky, bring it to the hip, open the hip, breathe into the hip. Bring it to the ribs, breathe into the ribs, into the side body, and then reach the arm out and over, maybe out on this opposite extension away from the back leg. Press into that back edge of the foot. Breathe. Face is either parallel to the wall, or the gaze may stretch the neck downward or up to the fingertips. Make sure you're pressing away through that forearm resting on the thigh. Try not to disengage into that shoulder. When you're ready, back up. Find Warrior 2. Take a moment there. We're going to flow now from Radiant Warrior to the side body bend. So we're going to inhale. We're going to exhale. We're going to inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Back to center. And we're going to slowly cartwheel the hands down to the blocks. Step the feet parallel. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release over the legs. Other side, bring the blocks back. Step your right leg back for this one. Again, planting either perpendicular or on that angle with the back foot and reaching up and back. Find your way into the warrior. Breathe here. Checking in with the pelvic floor. Find your seat, rounding into the back edge of the foot, the front edge of the foot, lifting through your crown. Checking in particularly with the front knee. If there's a tendency to drop your knee inward, you're really going to protect and connect through the outside edge of your foot at the base of the pinky, the base of the heel, pressing away gently from midline. Mind you, you can always lessen the sensation with less of a frame, less length in your stance, like so. Right? Do what your body needs. My body wants me to explore a little more space, so I'm going to honor that, and I'm going to check in. Adjust. Adjust. Connect. Align. Inhale, Radiant Warrior, up and back, and holding here for several breaths. Pelvis tilted, navel to spine, pressing away with that back leg. When I'm ready, out and over, finding my way in to the side angle pose, reminding myself that the twist is coming from the base, not my shoulder. Breathing into these areas, finding extension. Finding what my head and neck want on this day, in this practice, in this moment. Whatever I do, that the extension is there, whether I'm gazing upward, I keep my face parallel to the wall, or I look downward. And we're going to connect the two. So inhale, come all the way up, Radiant Warrior. All the way out and over for the side angle pose. Inhale, up and back. Out and over. Up and back. Out and over. Exploring the variations. One more time. And from Warrior 2, straight leg, I cartwheel the hands down. We're going to step to the front of the back mat and release our head and neck. When you're ready, we're going to take our left leg back, right leg in the front. Elongate, find a lunge. Maybe in this lunge, you're going to bring your blocks into play. If you want to lessen the intensity, I'm going to walk my hands forward until I get on my blanket and make sure that that back knee has some support there. Right? We can stay here, bending the front knee. I can walk my right leg out to the side more. I might find it comfortable and enjoyable to come down onto my forearms, whether I'm on the blocks or all the way at the mat. But you really want to be able to keep your head, neck, and spine elongated. You don't want to just disengage your head and neck when you go into this position, which is really a tendency. You want to keep your whole body connected to it. Right knee over the right ankle. Keep connected through the heel of your right foot. Keep the heart lifted, shoulder blades down the back. And when you're ready, walk the hands up. And we're going to bring our right leg back and step back to downward dog. You can stay here in downward dog for the next 3 breaths, or you can lower knees, chest, and chin, take a vinyasa. Other side when you're ready. So we're going to take our left leg forward. If you ever feel like, oh, I can't get it there, then you give it a little bit of love, right? Give it a love shove. And then find that alignment, back knee might lower for this. Depends on what your body needs, right? If you're trying to create a lot of heat and a lot of intensity, then you keep the legs straight. One thing you really want to make sure you do is protect the bent knee. So not all your weight is just going deep into that knee. You're not just dropping all the weight, which means you need to press into the top of your foot. Whether you curl it under so that the ball of your foot is touching, or you uncurl the toes, either way, you want to press into the top of the foot or into the foot itself to counterbalance and give resistance, so you're not just dropping the weight into that kneecap. Breathe. One more breath. Transition, your choice. Use the blocks, use the mat, step back, find downward dog. Stay here for 3 breaths. I'm just showing that variation of downward dog, so you can always bring the floor closer to you. And find some movement, or Vinyasa, gentle style. Knees, chest, and chin. Push back with the legs, rising up for the cobra, protecting the back, the tops of the feet pressing. And navel to spine, hands back by the ribs, lengthen. We'll all meet in downward dog. Paying attention in your dog to the breath. If your body's like, you know what, a child's pose would be delectable, then you're going to take a passive child's pose, right? That means your forearms are resting. You're not stressed in your shoulders at all. Your breathing is connected, slow, and steady. Stay here and connect your breath for a moment. If there's movement, remember to explore that movement, whether it's circular or spiral-like, whether it feels like you're in a canoe and there's a wave side to side, right? Connect your breath to that relinquishing of stress, flowing movement. And when you're ready to transition, we're going to slowly and steadily find our way up. For balancing tonight, because I want to keep it really grounded, we're going to do a balancing from the floor. So we're going to do a half or supported side plank. So you have options to adjust this as you like. I'm going to show a few variations. One is going to be incorporating a block. So we'll take that block under the right side. We'll put weight onto the right shin, and we'll extend that opposite leg. Elongating, bring the pelvis into the tilt, really supported at the base. Right? From here, you can take that right shin and make it perpendicular. Right? That's why I use the block here. Or if you want a little more challenge, right? We'll breathe here for a minute. Then you would just step that left leg forward and extend back through the right leg. Now, I know we are opposite right now, so I will switch sides to help you with that. Right, this would be a mirror image to you. Make sure that that back leg that you're extended onto is on the outside edge of the foot. Your front foot is fully connected through the sole of the foot. Probably you've been here for a minute. So let's take a breath and release. Either child's pose or downward dog for 3 breaths. Maybe there's movement.
When you're ready to go to the other side, adjust as necessary. I'll do the mirrored movement this time for you. So you'll be coming on the left. Haha, this will be interesting. You're going to come onto your left shin now. Extend your right leg back. And if this is not your thing, or you want more, then you're going to take your right leg forward. Extend your left leg back. Right? Find that extension. Your right palm is probably on the mat. Pressing through that outside edge. Try not to collapse the back ankle. The hand could stay on the hip or reach to the sky, breathing. And when you're ready, back down. And let's all take a child's pose. Knees wide. Sit back towards your heels and lowering your weight into the shape. Let's begin to walk our hands over to the left side, stretching that right side body. You want forearms to be able to touch the mat, your forehead to be touching the floor. You can do wide knee as I'm doing, or you can adjust if it feels better to keep the knees touching. It really just depends on what your body needs. Let's walk the hands back across to the opposite side. Forearms rest, forehead resting either on the mat or on a block, as you would adjust for any of these, since the priority is not getting your head to the floor, but rather this quad stretch of letting the hips or sit bones drop to the heels as much as they're able to. Come on back to center. And slowly come up. We're going to come onto our backs for this last portion. So take yourself onto the back line. Relax on the back. Let's bend the knees. And we're going to bring the knees to chest. We're going to be doing a gentle flow here. Inhale, bring the knees away. Exhale, press the knees to chest. Inhale, knees away. Exhale, press the knees to chest. Inhale, knees away. Exhale, knees to chest. Inhale, knees away. And this time we'll hug it in. Hold. Let's lower our left sole of the foot to the floor, keeping a hold of our right knee, either at the shin or the thigh. Reach your arm out to the side, palm facing the sky, and lower the knees down to the side. Let your gaze drift off to the left fingertips, and then let your eyes close as you breathe softly and steadily, softening the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing into every craving of the body. Wherever the body needs that breath, facilitate. Just by breathing when we're stretching, we are engaging the body's wisdom to send the oxygen through the blood to these areas of the body that need that attention. Slowly come back to center, hug the knees into chest. Drop the left sole of the foot, take a hold of the right shin. Bring the legs down to the left side, reaching out, palm to sky. Dropping the weight of your left arm, softening into that right shoulder blade. Breathing is steady and slow. Maybe closing the eyes. Try just to let the weight of that left arm stretch you into this space, right? You're not forcing or holding. You don't want to be engaged in that shoulder girdle. You want there to be a sense of release. When you're ready, slowly come back to center. And we're going to set up for final resting pose. In final resting pose, if your low back needs support, you will take either a blanket and roll it up and place it under the back of the knees, like so. If you're someone who needs the head and the neck, I would suggest using the blanket under your head and maybe the blocks either like this or like this, so that your feet can naturally turn out to the sides. If you want to be all the way on the mat, because I tend to move all around, you'll do this, adjust. And then you're going to lay on back. You know, the blanket could always go over top of you for grounding purposes, right? Like placing the blanket here on the hips. Or if you know your neck really just needs that support, make a little roll just underneath that curvature of the neck. And then let the body surrender to the shape, turning the palms to face the sky, and completely surrender and breathe naturally. Softening the eyes into the sockets. Relaxing the lips and the mouth and the tongue between the upper and lower palate. Observe your breath. Try not to dictate it. Try not to do anything other than notice. Notice where you can relax, where you can let go. Just till you find those places where you can just be in the pose without a lot of work. And just let your body rest here until you're ready to get up. Maybe you'll pause here, maybe you'll just let it keep going. But you will be here as long as you need to be here to let the body recalibrate and work its natural wisdom of caring for you. The body cannot care for us if we do not care for it. If you want to take longer here, please do. Otherwise, I will do the signaling to rise up. You can stay here until I guide you with that verbally.
Begin to articulate the toes and the fingers, finding some movement in your face. Maybe articulating the head side to side as you move the arms back and forth. And then let's start to stretch our legs out nice and long, reaching our arms up past our head, stretching one side, stretching the other. And then slowly bring it back into hugging the knees to chest. And then we'll roll off to the side. Come up to a seat when you're ready. And as you find your seat, getting comfortable, maybe using a blanket or blocks under your sit bones to support yourself, maybe a bolster. And then we're going to place our right hand over heart center, our left hand over the navel, and take a moment here. Realign with the breath.